So the song was not Caswell.
Oh.
It was Johnny McGovern. It's called Soccer Practice. It's very funny.
Listen, I like to do manly things, but I like baby to do
shake that ass.
with you. I was thinking,
Oh, lover, you gonna make me clutch my pearls.
I remember it from like the MySpace days.
Yeah, I was gonna say it feels very MySpacey.
So that is the song that Jason is dancing to. This show, it's great.
It knows how to end on a cliffhanger.
Oh my God, it's so good.
It knows how to end in a way that you are 100% coming
Well,
back
and that's
next
where
week.
the campy and the soapy, like it takes itself seriously, but not to a fault.
Yeah.
Like it's that thing that we frequently talk about with the Marvel movies where it's like you can't be afraid of the material. You
Right.
have to like go all in. So in that regards, it's very soapy. But I'm trying to think of where to start with this one.
Well, it picks up right where we left off with Sookie going to Bill's and meeting the three other, it's like Diane and
It's Marcus, Diane, and Malcolm.
Malcolm.
I love how episode 2 ends on such a like a serious, scary cliffhanger.
Mhm.
We open up at that exact same point, but it's comedic.
Yeah.
Maybe you ought to come on inside.
Are you trying to glamour me?
Yes.
That doesn't work on me.
Why not?
I don't know, it just doesn't. Is Bill available?
Because they're trying to glamour her and it's not working.
She's like, are you trying to glamour me? And they're like, yeah.
And Marcus has kind of like a sad trombone. Like he's like,
It's chocolate.
and
So much.
they are doing so much. It is so funny. We get the introduction of this is Hep D,
Yeah.
which is a type of hepatitis that doesn't really affect humans, but it weakens the vampires.
Yeah.
The way that Bill explains it, it wears off, but it's like,
Yeah.
did he say like a month?
Yeah.
And so we
I do think there is a Hep V.
there is later.
Later.
Mm-hmm. So we have, well, Hep V is engineered.
Right. Show goes some places.
So we had, let's go with Travis. That's what we'll call him. He was trying to get revenge on them, so he was intentionally...
It's Jerry.
Jerry, okay. They're intentionally infecting them, and Sookie overhears and stops Bill from feeding on him. We get more of the vampire breakdown because Bill claims Sookie as his, and she... It's why we love Sookie, but it's also like Sookie.
Well, she goes along with it in the moment,
she
which
does.
is smart.
Uh-huh.
But as soon as they're alone again, she's like, and what about being mine? Like, or I'm yours or whatever. And he's just like, well, it's mine to feed on. And blah. And she's like, you certainly will not.
Uh-huh. But even though in the moment it's a little bit eye-rolly, I do like it because though the trajectories of their love story is pretty parallel. Though the trajectories of this love story is pretty parallel to Twilight, to Bella and Edward, I think the places where Sookie is like, I'm in over my head here. I need to take a step back from this.
Yeah.
And it's like, and though we end up in similar places, it's like, I appreciate the sense that Sookie seems to have. And she spends this entire episode questioning their relationship, his intentions, what it could mean for her. She seeks counsel.
Yeah.
Like, I really appreciate it.
From Gran, smartly.
So, because that's one of the things I want to talk about. I remember loving Gran. I love Gran so much. There's this scene. She has such this gentle, wise, benevolent quality.
Mm-hmm.
And I like how thoughtful she is. Like, it's like everything that she says has such purpose. And I love the scene because it starts with the conversation about Starbucks coming. And she's like, I never understood why people would pay so much for some mediocre coffee with too much milk in it.
Yeah.
And Sookie's like, well, I've read that people actually are having less calcium deficiencies because of all the fancy coffee we're drinking. And Adele literally goes, I never considered it that way.
Yeah.
And that is so...
I also do think that was just like a dumb thing that Arlene read on Facebook or something. But
Sure.
Regardless.
But the point, it illustrates in real time that Gran is, though old-fashioned, not
Open-minded.
stuck in her ways.
Yeah.
And also optimistic, also willing to see the good in the world. And the fact that coffee conversation sets up this scene and then comes back and bookends the scene. Because from there we go into Sookie sort of debating about the merits of vampires and dating vampires. And they do a lot of talking around her. And I love the moment where we literally, who is Gran, the actress?
Lois Smith.
Lois Smith, where we literally, there's a handful of times where we literally see her choosing her word.
Mm-hmm.
I would imagine that wouldn't be such a bad thing for you with your ability.
She doesn't say gift.
Yeah, or power.
She doesn't say you know, she says your ability. And basically she invokes Sookie's ability as a way of continuing this conversation from the milk onto what they're actually talking about, where she's like, things exist and we don't always understand how or why.
Yeah, but there
It's
must
like,
be a purpose.
But there's a purpose for it. And so Sookie's asking her, and she's like, and I do love the religion of it all, because, I mean, it's very rare that you, especially in this type of media, that you see religion depicted in any positive light.
Yeah.
And so there's sort of these very silly conversations on the surface, but she's like, do you think Jesus would approve of vampires or, you know, what have you? And that's where, again, so I think this is where I was going. She brings up her ability to relate Sookie to, quote unquote, the vampires or the overpriced coffee, where she's like, you know, your grandfather knew what people were thinking sometimes, which I said the moment I was like, that's information that needed to be conveyed to Sookie.
Sookie should have known that sooner.
Much sooner.
Way sooner.
And especially because we see the way that her parents treat her, to see how Gran treats her is so fascinating. And she basically was like, it's hard, but also you don't know the ways in which you can help people. And she's very much like, I think that if she does believe in God and she does have faith in this way, something like vampires cannot dissuade her from it, cannot detract from it. And she's very much like, since it exists and since I do believe, I have to believe that there's a reason for it, even if I don't understand it. And she compares it to the coffee. I don't know. I was really blown.
It's a really good scene. Because she also does a thing where Sookie admits to Gran that she can't hear Bill. And it's also kind of a bookended scene, because Gran is like, oh, that must be very relaxing.
Very nice for you.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And that kind of bookends with a scene with Sam and Tara, where Tara tells Sam, well, Sam tells Tara she can't hear Bill. And Tara's like, oh, that you have no chance. If she can't hear him, that's it. And Sam is still in this thing where he's like, I told her she can listen to my thoughts. And Tara's like, no, you don't get it. That's the opposite of the point. She doesn't want to. She doesn't want to be able to hear things. If she really can't hear Bill, then you have 0% in this game. There's no way for you to win.
How do you feel about Tara and Sam? I find it interesting.
Yeah.
We were a little hard on Tara in the first episode, and I think the writing was, I think she's introduced very strongly in a way that didn't need to be.
I also think I was, because of the first episode and then what I remember of how her character progresses, because I remember being like, no, now I remember like early Tara, this is fine. Like she deserves to be the way she is because she's got a lot going against her.
I think it's I think it's interesting. I do like how matter of fact she is.
I was gonna say I like that she is the one that is like, we should sleep together, and is just like, it's literally just sex. Both of us, it's been a while, why not?
I also like watching it the second time because he kind of he turns her down at first, and I like that she doesn't get to like she doesn't.
She's just like, okay, fine, let's keep drinking whiskey.
She's like, suit yourself, and she really could have. She could have been way more fraught over that and with that plot point. I remember loving Letty Mae. Did I?
I never did.
I know you never did.
No. Which is bonkers because I absolutely love Adina Porter.
Well, I think she ends up becoming more interesting later because I do remember, mild spoilers, that she gets her life cleaned up. She gets straightened out.
Sort of.
But this is a lot.
It's so much. Talk about a strong intro. Tara comes home the next morning because she spent the night at Sam's, and Letty Mae is there behind the door with a Bible to hit her in the head.
Who knows how long she's been lurking there. And then, but it's like, because I love the notion that not only is she this fucked up, both literally and metaphorically, but also has the faculties to troll Tara.
Yeah. She's also either already or still drunk. And you know, it also does that thing, which, I mean, it feels very realistic from an alcoholic standpoint, where she's like, I need your help, I love you, blah blah blah, and then immediately she grabs the bottle and smashes Tara in the head with it.
And I do love the scene, the moment Tara has, where she's like, you might have carried me and nursed me.
You may have carried me and nursed me, but obviously you are now set on killing me. And if I'm forced to choose between you and me, guess what? You lose. You get back here. You help me up. You're on your own, old woman.
Because I remember there's an episode later where, like, Tara is at home and, like, Letty Mae is, like, better and she, like, makes her breakfast and stuff. And it's like, but it's okay for, like, 15 minutes and then it's terrible again.
Okay.
And it's this season. That's this season.
Okay. Yeah, I don't know. That does lead Tara to Lafayette, seemingly the one person in this entire town that has his shit together.
God.
His house is so amazing.
His house is amazing. He's got all of the drugs he needs, and Pellegrino and Jell-O. I mean, literally, what more could you want? And a dirty senator that's coming to him for drugs and sex.
Although, Duke seemed like he could hang.
For the road.
All right. Call me when comes in.
I will. Ta-ta, take care. Duke.
I kind of liked Duke. I don't think we ever see him again.
I'm saying thumbs up to Duke. Lafayette has got everything he needs on lock.
And it's just such an amazing performance and such an amazing character.
Yeah.
Because it's like...
We haven't even gotten to the AIDS-burger episode, which is, in my opinion...
I forgot.
The greatest acting.
All you have to do is say, hold the AIDS.
I mean... All right, we'll get there.
Seems
It's soon.
chill.
Yeah, it's soon.
But he's just like... Because he's sort of like a funhouse version of Gran with the wisdom and the benevolent nature and all that. It's just, it's so great. I love when Jason shows up and is immediately in over his head.
Yeah.
Well, hello, hotness.
You're wearing gold pants.
Because he's friends with Lafayette, but he sees Lafayette most often at work on the road crew, where Lafayette is more masculine presenting than he is in his spare time when he presents a lot more in the middle.
I do love that Lafayette does openly hit on Jason.
Constantly.
And I think that, I mean, that's, if I do say so myself, that's half the fun of having a gay friend.
Yeah.
Is... Because guys, they claim that they don't like it, or this is getting really weird. You know what I mean? It's, deep down, most guys kind of love it when a gay guy flirts with them in a harmless way. I think Jason is way tradier than the show ever.
Like he would go for it. Well, okay, but they're trying to use the vampire thing as like a metaphor for a lot of stuff, and so it makes Jason into this ultra straight man who, like, because the thing is that like maybe Jason is, but then you should have cast someone different because Ryan Quanten looks like he knows what's going on.
I just didn't remember that Jason was full stop trash. He's awful.
Yeah.
That scene with Dawn, the like where he like is pseudo assaulting her as the vampire is
so okay. Let's get something down about consent, because you can get agreed upon consent for a situation like that ahead of time in which you are playing out a non-consensual scene, but you have agreed upon it beforehand. This is not that. He is assaulting her. And she's sort of into it, but he's right. It's because she thinks he's the vampire.
I just like, I don't know, a lot that his weird fixation on the vampires, but Marcus specifically.
Yeah.
He is so it's very, and I can't quite remember where all the show goes, but it's very like awoken something in him.
Yeah.
And he's afraid of it, so he's acting out in anger. And I don't know.
And then he takes every inch of it too personally, because Dawn makes a couple of comments because she gets pissed back, rightly so.
I forgot how amazing Dawn was. I'm kind of livid.
Yeah.
I'm kind of livid.
So she makes some comments about how he can't even keep it up or whatever, and he takes that.
I usually hate that kind of, like, I'm like, don't go after him just because your butt hurt or just because something went south.
No, but Jason needs
to get taken down deserved like it in that moment.
So,
because she's literally like,
you used to be good in bed and now you can't even keep it up. What good are you?
It's like there are 3 things you bring to the table and you were out of all 3 of them.
You were currently done with all 3. He already looks strung out.
He really does.
This what happens next even happens, because he goes to Lafayette and he's like, I need Viagra. And Lafayette is like, Viagra is legal. Go to the doctor. Like, what are you doing? And he's like, no, I need something like right now. Because presumably he's just going to go and assault Dawn again with his rock hard penis. And it's just like, come on, man. So he like gives him the vampire blood. And he's like, 1 drop, maybe 2. You're going to want to remember that. Because in episode 4, Jason does the wrong thing again.
A Jason special, if you will.
Jason special. And so it's just like, because he already knows about all the vampire stuff and he's anti it, and both of these women that he's had sex with so far that we know of have been with vampires also, only one of which, because Dawn did not have sex with Marcus. It was a different one. Well,
because I was going to say nothing comes of it, but based on the phrasing of a few things in this episode, I think it was Eric.
Possible it was Eric.
I'm going to just go ahead and say, because again, nothing comes of it, but it's notable if you're a fan of the show.
So basically, my whole thing is to just say that, like,
once you've had Eric, Jason is.
Once you've had Eric.
Uh-huh.
I would just gladly die at that point. Be like, my life has reached its zenith. Anyway, all of that is to basically say that, like, it's sort of a self-fulfilling prophecy for Jason, where it's like, in being so against all of this vampire stuff, it's only obviously going to lead him into doing the vampire blood and like getting even more involved in it in a way that if he would just let it roll off his back, it would be fine.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just so frustrating watching him be such a fucking idiot.
It really is.
Also, Dawn almost shoots him, which is so funny to me.
God. It's so good. I am proper bummed.
Yeah, I remembered it being really soon. I was like, it's as soon as she has sex with Jason again. Because
I remembered it being like episode 6 or something, but it's like, my vague memory the first time was sort of like, who is this? Why are they insisting this character on us? Mm-hmm. And now I'm like, would that?
Yeah.
Would that we could? So yeah, we have the dog subplot. This is another place where the show, I think, is so good because I truly, I don't remember how I felt about it in the beginning, but I do remember that the last 2 episodes were very heavy-handed, and we get that
like the final 2 episodes of this season?
That we just watched.
Oh, okay.
We get that shot of Sam being protective of Sookie and the zoom in on the painting of the dog guarding the sleeping girl. And then we get the Sam barks in his sleep. And so I love that.
Which, when Tara tells that to Lafayette and he's like, white people are crazy. Love it. Every single time. It's so funny.
But it's like, I love that with this show, because at this point watching the show, we literally only have confirmation of vampires.
Yeah.
Bill makes some comment about shapeshifting, but the implications of it are vampires.
Yeah.
There are some vampires that can shapeshift.
Mm-hmm.
And I love that the audience is on guard enough that we're suspicious that maybe Sam could somehow be this dog. But the second that we get to there, they make a point to show him with the dog.
Yeah.
Which...
That's just a big old spoiler.
Yeah.
For the whole show.
As in I shouldn't say it?
Well, I don't mean, It's up to you.
It couldn't possibly be Sam because we see him interact with the dog.
Went too hard.
We also get, I meant to say this when we were talking, I think this is where I got derailed, but when we were talking about Lois Smith and Gran, we get one of the greatest line readings in history where Sookie is talking about taking a break from Bill and Gran manages to turn the word untoward into 6 syllables.
Yeah. Oh, Sookie.
Sookie, has he done something untoward?
No.
She absolutely
Yeah.
just like a piece of well done steak.
Yeah, it was great. I loved it.
It's just, she's so amazing. I love her so much. I did want to say when we were talking about Tara, I think another thing that is a huge saving grace for her is when she's having the very first conversation with Sam in this episode, where they're talking about Sam being in love with Sookie, and then they're comparing it to her being in love with Jason. And Sam kind of pulls, I forget what he says, but it's some kind of gotcha moment.
Yeah.
And she's like, no, but I like that he's just out of reach.
Yeah.
She was like, that's what makes me like it.
I prefer him to be unattainable.
But it was something about the just out of reach, that she can cozy up to him on the couch.
Yeah.
But it doesn't.
Also, if she were to go up to Jason and be like, I think we should have sex right now, let's just do it, he would. He sticks his in everything.
But that's almost worse to her.
It's way worse. It's way worse. And I think that's the thing about Tara and her, because she also, one of the things I remember, and in this episode, it's very apparent, but because the rest of her performance and her character in this episode's fine, I am whatever with it. But she, like, for being as self-aware as she is, she's so fucking stupid kind of a lot of the time, because she like recites,
but that's authentic.
No, it is, but because she recites like her like list of issues as if she were a therapist. And just to be like, then why are you still so dumb?
Because she doesn't, because it's the fear.
Yeah.
It's that there's comfort in victimhood a lot of times. And I don't want to throw down victimhood, but she makes one or two comments where she's like, I'm the adult child of an alcoholic. Of course I'm fucked up in this manner.
Yeah.
And of course I have intimacy issues. And of course I have, like on some level, she craves being not good enough for people because it's what she knows.
It's also easier than like actually trying and attempting to lift yourself out of the lot you've been given in life.
So yeah, the Bill went to Marcus and Diana Malcolm's and did what? Just told him to stay away from.
He just sort of
them.
threatened them and was like, we have to like try to pretend like we're normal, because that's what they all are like, well, we didn't want to, come out, and if we can't kill people, what's the point? And it's like, I mean, living forever, is that not good enough? It is for me.
We differ on this place. Sookie was also rubbing it out the whole episode. I guess she's still high on the V, but like she lays down on the dirty steps. And
His
like
dirty steps.
in the middle of the day and is just going to town.
Yeah.
But yeah. Which we love to see it, but in more ways than one. So, okay. Well, I think we're going to watch episode 4 and then we'll be back to do bad things with you.
Bye. You good?
Is that properly out of your system?
Are you finished? Are you quite through?